All right, we're live. Welcome back to another episode of Persuasion by the Pint. I'm Jonathan Taylor, along with
Sean McCool and Jonathan. Today we've got a special guest on the show. Man, we've been lining up the guests lately, haven't we?
one after another. That's right, man.
This one almost didn't happen though. He had a little internet outage and it was kind of back and forth, a little touch and go. But
yeah,
he got it figured out, man. He's an action taker. He got it figured out. So he's here today in the green room.
We're glad that he joined us. I mean, we're pretty good about creating stuff on the fly, but I was really looking forward to this guest. He sent some of his wares out. We'll be talking about that. He's got a great book out. We're going to be discussing. But I was looking forward to this. So when you texted me, I was like, oh man,
yeah,
I was looking forward to that conversation.
Yeah, well, we get to do it.
We got him. So
good way to wrap up the week. So I'll go ahead and do the bio. We'll bring him on.
All right.
So our guest became fascinated with marketing and sales almost 2 decades ago. Today, he is the co-creator of the X Factor Effect methodology, where he and his team have helped over 20,000 students and clients grow their businesses. He teaches that different is the new better, and his framework includes 9 pillars for differentiating your business so that you can become a market leader or a category king or queen. For several years, he has traveled the world full-time with his wife and 4 children. They continue to travel often and now live in Florida. He is the author of the new book, Ideas That Influence, that was built to help business owners discover their wildly successful marketing ideas. Please welcome to the show, Daniel Den.
Hey! Such an honor to hang out with the military vets. You guys have 2 things on me that I don't have. One, you're Gen Xers. I'm 41. That makes me the oldest millennial possible.
Elder millennial.
Yeah, I'm the grandpa millennial, if that's a thing. And not a grandpa yet, but might be in the next few years. But you two, so you guys are in the cool generation, the Gen Xers. Yes. I was that close to being a Gen Xer, and you guys are military vets, which make you two just simply incredible. Thank you so much for having me on with you today.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah,
appreciate the accolades there. We have to have you on more often.
You can keep going. We'll increase the size of that check.
Well, if you're looking for somebody that, if you're looking for somebody who's a great real estate agent, then Jonathan's your guy. So, and then if you're looking for just an amazingly cool coach, then you got to go with Sean McCool. Just hands down. So what else can I say? What else can I say?
Well, I got to correct you, Daniel.
Uh-oh.
I'm not in real estate.
Well, select
got some rental properties.
Oh yeah. I'm an investor, but I'm not an agent. So
there you go. Oh man, I was that close.
Close enough.
But my daughter is in Florida, Sydney McCool in Florida. She just got her license. Look her up.
Nice.
So, all right. So we're talking about
Florida's a tough place to drive. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Florida is a tough place to drive.
So is Texas. Just from a vastness of Texas. So
yeah.
Well, Daniel, before we talk about our drinks real quick, what is kind of one thing, maybe unexpected thing our listeners might hear from you today? Kind of don't give away too much. We want them to stay tuned.
Yeah. So I love this. There's a recent Forbes article that says we're all exposed to about 4,000 to 10,000 different ads or marketing pieces every single day. Usually every day we remember like one thing. I'm going to show you today how to be that one thing that sticks in people's minds that stands out from all the noise, all the competition.
That's a pretty big promise. We'll see if you can deliver.
Fingers crossed.
All right. Well,
you've impressed us so far, so I think you'll deliver.
Yeah, I think so. That's why we're having him on. So, so let's move into our juvenile beer talk segment here. So, Daniel, this is where we talk about our beers or our beverages. You're not having a beer today, but you are having a beverage. What are you having there today?
Yes. In my Rainmaker mug, I got an iced coffee because I'm just addicted to iced coffee. And so today, got the black iced coffee and splashed it with a little bit of almond milk. And I just got this new creamer, a Cinnabon creamer. I splashed some of that in there, and it's delicious. So
Cool. Do you make your own iced coffee, or do you use like Stoke or something?
I grabbed the Stoke. The family doesn't like the smell of the so
the Stoke is good stuff though, man. Stoke's a nice, it's a good brand. I wish they still had their protein coffee, but they don't. They got rid of that.
Yeah. So I usually get the Stoke or just go with the Starbucks. Just grab it from the grocery store because the family doesn't like the smell, and that's totally fine.
Yeah,
I like it. It's good stuff.
You know, do you know Rich Schefren?
I don't know him personally, but have bought some of his stuff. Yes.
Yeah. So he's been on the show. He's a friend from way back when I was doing copywriting, and man, that guy, he drinks the green Stoke bottle just like by the thing on his shows when he's doing his YouTube videos and stuff. Nice. He just pounds that stuff. It's crazy.
That's the one I grabbed, the black and green one. There you go.
Yeah. So Jonathan, what do you have over there?
All right, let me share it here. So this is a from Three Floyds. This is a mango Foder Fiend. I have no idea where that name comes from, but it sounds delicious. It's a aged for 6 months in our handmade wooden Foders. This fiendish wild ale is brewed with mangoes and fresh mango juice, and showcases a mixed yeast culture. I don't know. It's not very good copy, but it sounded refreshing. I love the artwork too. It's a little bit of a little wild there. So I've had some back-to-back, last week, this week, the artwork's been spot on. So I can't tell you how it'll taste though.
Yeah, that doesn't always correlate. That's for sure. So
last week was like a 2-something, and the art was great.
Yeah. Well, I've got sort of a mashup here. So the brewery is Hell or High Water Brewing in, check out this Texas name of a town, Liberty Hill, Texas.
Yeah.
Which is not too, it's about an hour from here.
Hell or High Water.
That's the brewing company.
Made a movie recently.
It's insane. It's so, but the beer is a combo with these guys. Have you ever heard of the Barbecue Pit Boys?
Yeah, sure have.
Yeah.
I used to be on their forum a long time ago.
Okay. So spices and recipes and all that kind of stuff. They apparently did a collab with Hell or High Water and ended up with this beer, the Pale Bock from the Barbecue Pit Boys.
That's awesome.
So this is a Bock, and it's a good beer for their, which is their brand, their little tagline.
That's cool. I didn't realize they had of course, it's been a while since I've seen anything from them, but didn't they used to put out a lot of content, like videos and stuff like that?
Yeah, they still, lots of recipe videos, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything about the beer on their site. It's probably because they don't want to put a 21 label on it or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, good old, here's a Bock. So that's what mine looks like.
All right.
So let's cheers it up to a good show, gentlemen.
Cheers. Oh man. Ooh.
All right. So here's where we rate our drinks, Daniel. 1 to 5. You can use decimal points, whatever you want. What do you give your little concoction there of Cinnabon coffee?
Yeah, it's tasty. It's tasty. I mean, you can't with that. If I cheated though, like I literally threw Cinnabon creamer.
Yeah, it's hard to screw up that
coffee. It's 90 degrees today in Florida. I'm sure it's 90 degrees where you're at as well in Texas. But yeah, it's good. It's good. I'll give it a 4.3. 4.3.
Sounds good. Jonathan, how's that mango Fondy Fiend thing?
You've seen that bitter beer face before. That's what I'm feeling right now.
Okay.
This gets this is like a 2-0 even.
Man, you've been having a rough streak here.
This is really sour.
Oh, that mango coming through hard. Huh?
Yeah, big time.
I wonder if it's a sour style beer.
It didn't say, because I noticed there's some sour ales going on, but this didn't describe itself as a sour ale. It just looked really refreshing on a hot day. But
Well, maybe
man, it's
step outside and drink it.
Yeah,
maybe that would help. On a golf course, that would help.
There you go.
All right. Well, I'm going to give mine. Mine's good for just an easy drinking beer. It's actually got a little sweetness to it.
Yeah.
More than I expected, but not a lot. So I'm going to give this a 4.25.
Okay.
That's quality.
Good. Yeah. 4.25.
Yep. So, all right. Well, let's jump in. So here's what we're talking about today. I've got the book, and then with the book came.
I didn't bring my box.
That's all right. I got you. I did. Got the box. See if you got a little light bulb up here for ideas. Like this box really the book caught my idea first on the Facebook ad. At first I didn't even realize there was a box because I didn't really study the ad too closely. I was like, oh, that's a cool name for a book. Sounds like somebody that should be on our show. And contacted you, Daniel, and you had your team send out the boxes. And I was very impressed when I got it. And excited to kind of go through it.
Thoroughly impressed. Thoroughly impressed.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that means a lot coming from you guys. Thank you.
Except for the candy. Nothing against your candy, but I'm just not, that banana. Just not my cup of tea. But everything else is awesome.
Yeah,
I love the coffee mug.
I wasn't going for flavor on that. We'll save that surprise for people.
Yeah, exactly.
But there was a purpose to it. So.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a story behind every one of those little packages that is included in the box. So
yeah, there's some cool stuff going on, which I guess we can kind of get into as we go, but maybe as we talk about the parts. But yeah, there's actually a journey. So you've got a little map that you fill out, and you can do. It's very interactive. So tell us about, like, a lot of people have written books, Daniel, and I guess we should give some props to your partner too, Pedro.
Yeah.
How do you say his last name?
Superti is how. If you want to say it, if you want to say it in Italian, I actually don't know. If you want to say it in English, you would say Superti. If you want to say it in Portuguese, you say Superchi, because in Brazilian Portuguese, we love to add cheese to everything. If you ever hear somebody speaking Portuguese, it sounds like Spanish plus a bunch of cheese and G's and cheese and cheese. That's what
I do love cheese. So maybe I should move there.
There you go. They have good cheese down in Brazil too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you didn't just write a book, you wrote an entire experience, which has really caught my eye. So tell us a little bit about that first, and then we'll get into the methodology. But if you want to give some of your background first, you can start there as well.
Yeah. The short story to the background is, so I got copied in my business, and Pedro had been copied in his business. And he started helping people not get copied. And we saw this blue ocean opportunity down in Brazil. And for the past 12 years, we taught people how to become uncopyable inside of their niche markets and eventually become market leaders and category kings or category queens inside of their niches. And we just kept refining this methodology that we call the X Factor effect. And it just works. We have helped tons of people break through the noise in their markets and become market leaders. Now, the whole goal of this was to eventually spread our methodology to the rest of the world. We have students across the world already, but we didn't have anything big that made a splash in the English speaking market yet. So I said, all right, how am I going to do this? Okay, first I'll take one of our best methodologies that we taught. It was this concept here. We did this 2-day event with students that taught everything inside of Ideas That Influence, but we taught it first in Portuguese. And people absolutely loved it because it taught people how to break through the noise with their marketing message. So I said, great, that's what I'm going to write the book about. I'm going to write it in English. I'm going to do a lot of research. is going to be incredible. I get to the end of writing the book and I'm like, man, this is a good book. My editor's like, this is an amazing book. And I'm like, great. I'm going to do a free plus shipping book funnel. Problem is that everybody and their dog, when I finally finished the book, everybody and their dog already had a free plus shipping book funnel. And so I was in this predicament because we're the guys that teach you how to break through the noise.
Right.
So was I going to just launch another funnel just like everybody else? That's the question that I kept on coming back to. And so I was sitting with three really smart friends in a mastermind in Mexico. One of them, his name's Mark Stern. He is the owner of Custom Box Agency. I know that you guys on the last episode were asking who helped me. Well, yeah. Mark Stern did. There you go. Cat's out of the bag. Bring him on the episode next.
We will.
And so yeah, Mark helps people with these amazing box experiences, and his shtick is, no, we're not doing swag boxes. We are creating experiential boxes. And then I know you guys are familiar with the concept of a shock and awe package. Dan Kennedy talks about it.
Yeah.
And he understands that fully as well. So he kind of does like a mix between a shock and awe package and having it be extremely experiential rather than it just being a swag box. But so I was sitting next to him, and I was also sitting next to Josh and Ashley Latimer, and they have this Kid War Plan journal for kid entrepreneurs that has sold like crazy. And Mark's talking about boxes. They're talking about Kid War Plan. And I'm like, I got to do something different. And I'm like, I'm going to launch the very first free plus shipping interactive book box experience where I'm going to bring the book to life. And I'm going to make it a free plus shipping funnel. And it took me a whole extra year to put together the box experience pretty much after the book was finished. And it took a whole extra year, but I tell you what, it was worth it. People are worth it, yeah. Absolutely loving the book plus the box experience.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting that you started in another country, and because that was one of my questions. Like, I haven't heard your name a lot. You said you got 20,000 customers, so that explains it. That you were becoming a master of your craft in another country where I don't get ads for that, in that world. So that makes a lot of sense. That's pretty cool in the journal too. Maybe we'll have to have them on as well. But
yeah,
that's a pretty loaded room right there that you were in. So, well, tell us. So the subtitle of the book is The Proven Step-by-Step Process for Promoting the Perfect Marketing Message to Your Most Profitable Audiences. And you've got a method that you call the X Factor method. So why don't we kind of go through that a little bit? And then anytime you want to reference the box, let us know, and I can hold up one of the pieces, or we can talk about the pieces, however you want to kind of go through that.
Yeah, thank you. So we teach 9 pillars with the X Factor effect methodology. The full methodology, all 9 pillars, it's a lot. Yes. You could say it's at least 9 different courses worth of content. And only one of the pillars is, in fact, ideas that influence. It's all about creating ideas that influence, having that unique marketing message that breaks through the noise. So this book is one of the 9 pillars. If you think about everything that it takes to become a leader in your market, really sticky, bold, wildly successful marketing message is one of the really important things that are going to get you there. And so the natural question is, okay, well, what are some of these pillars outside of the marketing message, which we can go deeper into? But what else is there? Like, give us an idea. Well, one of the most important ones that you guys have spoken about multiple times here on Persuasion by the Pint. Multiple times you guys have talked about the concept of an avatar. And we cannot further the conversation with any of our clients. We cannot help them break through the noise while avoiding the boring topic of let's talk about your avatar. So that is one of the pillars that we absolutely, it's just unavoidable. We have to start with it. And so our unique take on avatar is we say marry the perfect avatar. And when we say marry the perfect avatar, we say there is the right avatar for you, the type of person that you want to work with. And the three of us, we've all worked with people that are not our dream clients. We understand that really easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you first start out making money, sometimes you just take whoever you can get. But once you graduate from that, you figure out who you want to marry as an avatar. But it's a two-way street because you have to be attractive to that avatar as well. You want to get people that want to, quote unquote, marry you as the person who is going to help them solve their problems. Usually, the easiest way to do that is you're selling to past versions of yourself. So I am going to sell to Daniel Den from 10 years ago when he was lost and didn't know what he was doing. And if you're doing some version of that, usually that dream customer is going to be attracted to you because you've been there, done that, and you're going to help them achieve their goals.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And there's probably multiple of those, that you'd have to pick. I think, at least for myself, like I could see a couple different milestone points in my career that, could be different avatars for sure. So yeah, let's dive into like the ideas that influence. And I also want to say, just as an aside, like the fact that like the whole box experience and that of the book is like step one, and you do that so well. I mean, that's very strategic because now I want the other 8 steps, right?
Yep.
Yeah, there we go. That's part of the strategy for sure.
Yeah, you feel lost if you haven't gone through the whole the whole system, right?
Yeah, and so you start getting these ideas, and one of the things you talk about is the very first thing you talk about is capturing an idea a day, which I think is great advice. And I haven't heard that before from really any marketers. I think it's great advice because then you are going to start to get more and more excited about what you're doing. And it's going to fuel that. So yeah, I mean, wherever you want to dive in on that.
Flesh that out. How do you go about capturing an idea every day?
So, I mean, I am the type of guy that it's all about on-demand learning. And so if my goal is to break through the noise with a specific marketing campaign, the winning idea, it's going to come from you or someone on your team. And collectively, you want like as many ideas on the table. If you have 10 ideas, okay, like that's one thing. But if collectively, myself and my team over, a 2-week, 3-week period, if we have a pool of hundreds of ideas, then amongst those hundreds of ideas, there's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, like absolute grand slams in there. It's just the law of averages, right? So when I'm going deep, I am going to go deep on my current needs. So when I was preparing to launch Ideas That Influence, for example, every single day I was coming up with hooks and ideas and headline ideas. And my catalyst for all of those ideas were listening to episodes like Persuasion by the Pint and listening to lots of Dan Kennedy training and re-listening to different books like Hook Point, and lots of different books on Audible. I re-listen to Robert Cialdini's Influence, and you start and you get yourself into this mode where I'm going to write down everything that's coming to my mind, and if I'm laying in bed and I'm so immersive into this and an idea comes to me, I will pull my phone out and I will type down that idea so that I can go to sleep finally, right? And so these ideas, when we immerse ourselves in this idea finding mode, sometimes the idea comes in the shower. And so you got to have your phone like sitting there on the counter. Sometimes it's right before you go to bed. And sometimes it's while you're consuming Persuasion by the Pint or any other podcast, whatever it is that is going to give you those catalyst ideas, that's what you need to submerge yourself into. Because lots of times, so we're talking about breaking through the noise of 4 to 10,000 ads every single day. Lots of times people will come up with a list of 5 ideas and pick their best one. And it's just in 2024, it's not enough, because you are literally competing with 4 to 10,000 different ads every single day. And you want to be that one that breaks through the noise. I like to do this little thought experiment with people. So Jonathan and Sean, out of the 4 to 10,000 different marketing pieces and ads and everything that you were exposed to yesterday, do you remember anything that really broke through the noise? Now, if you don't, then that's okay. Sometimes the answer is nothing broke through the noise, and sometimes it's like 1 or 2 things, but it's an open question. Did anything stick from yesterday?
I'd have to say today or yesterday, nothing really jumped out at me or stuck.
Same here. But if something does stick out to me, if an ad pops up, like if I'm scrolling through, Facebook and there's an ad that really captures my eye, then it'll hit me, and then I will actually copy that and save it into a notes tab.
I do that on Instagram. I bookmark it and I have a folder for ads.
Yep.
Using the bookmark feature on Instagram. So
yeah.
So in a way, you're doing this. You're gathering ideas on a daily, and when we have an important product launch or whatever coming up, that's the mode that we generally need to get into, because I'll go for a couple of weeks writing down these ideas on a daily, and I will forget what was written day 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, and 10, and then I go back and it's pure gold. It's like, holy smokes, I am so glad that every single day I was writing down 2, 3, 5 ideas. This is good. This is exciting. And then I bring those ideas to the table with my team, and we lay it all out on the table. And then it's just like, oh my goodness, this is good. Like, what if we take your idea, combine it with that idea, and boom. And then what we try to do is we try to get to the point where we know it's going to work. And I encourage everybody that's listening to do that as well with your marketing campaigns. Get to the point where you know it's going to work. You just don't know how well it's going to work. And that is a great place to start. And the opposite of that is to start with hope marketing. Hey, I have an idea. I hope that it works. It doesn't. It's not gonna break through the noise in 2024. It's just statistically not gonna happen. Like, maybe you'll get lucky. But
so how do you and your team identify something that will work versus hope? Like, what are some key indicators? You're like, oh yeah, I know this one's gonna work.
Yeah. I think it's in envelope 3. We have the ideas filter.
Okay.
It's the envelope that says pinpoint your winning idea. And inside of the book, Ideas That Influence, there are 7 main elements that, it's that's the third element. That third envelope, part 2 is the third envelope, because we got started here, part 1 and part 2. So the ideas filter, we cover 7 main elements for winning marketing messages inside of Ideas That Influence. And what we've seen is that if your winning idea, so you're going to lay out all of your ideas, and you're going to kind of do little check marks, and you're going to say, how many of these elements does my winning idea contain? And if you have one that hits all 7, then you should get really, really excited, because at least personally, we have never seen a marketing idea that contains all 7 elements not break through the noise. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but we've never seen a marketing message that contains all 7 of these elements not break through the noise. So that's the secret sauce for what we teach inside of Ideas That Influence. Try to hit as many of those 7 elements as possible.
And what's kind of the go-to, like you say, well, if it doesn't have at least this many of the 7, that's not going to cut it. Like we just put that one back.
We go for the minimum of 5. Okay. So sometimes if you have 5 of the elements, okay, like, hey, yeah, like we hit these 5 elements really good. We think it, like, we feel like it's going to work. We just don't know how well it's going to work. Okay, sure. Go with it. If that's the best one that you have. Yeah. So 5, 6, or 7 of those elements is what you're going for.
That makes a lot of sense. I had when I was doing copywriting, we had a headline formula, kind of that had the 4 U's, unique, ultra specific. I can't remember the other 2 right now because it's been so long, but
yeah, that's 2 of our 7 with just words.
Yeah, I can't remember the other 2 right now off the top of my head. But anyway, yeah, we would look for try to get 3 of those 4. It's really hard to get 4 in a headline, like in a marketing piece. Yeah, sure. But in a headline, that's pretty tight. So when you say an idea filter, like how I tend to think of an idea as just the headline, kind of the big idea. How far does the idea stretch? Like how much of the campaign or whatever does the idea cover?
It's the big idea.
Okay.
We talk about your microphone message.
Okay.
And so it's like that one big idea behind the marketing campaign. And in fact, that's one of the elements. You want your marketing message focused. One of the 7 elements is it has to be focused on a single big concept or idea, which goes back to your U, which is you want it to be ultra specific, because this goes back to the problem in 2024, every single day being exposed to 4,000 to 10,000 different ads. It's Uncle Perry, Perry Belcher. He says that if you introduce a second big concept or idea in your marketing message, you usually cut your conversions in half. You cut them in half. Why? Because you start sharing too much information. You need to have that focused information shared to your dream customer, that one big concept or idea in 2024.
Okay, for those listeners that are yelling back at the podcast, it's useful, urgent, unique, and ultra specific.
Oh, dang, I'm going to write it down. All right, sorry. Useful,
urgent, unique, and ultra specific. That comes from the good folks at AWAI.
Nice. Love it.
Are all of those part of the 7 in your?
There is crossover where, so we're going to say, I wrote it wrong. I was like, usual. No, useful. So we hit all of those elements in different parts of our elements.
Yeah.
So the biggest crossover is ultra specific, which we say you need it to be focused on one big single concept or idea, and then unique. That's what we talk about all day. So we say have an X factor.
Yeah, I was going to say that's your X factor. Okay.
Yeah.
This, as I read through these kind of headlines of the 7 things, it reminds. I don't know if you're familiar with Michael Masterson, Mark Ford.
Yes.
But he talks. He did a great article one time. I'll have to.
Great leads.
Yes. Oh yeah, great book. But he talked about the power of one and having, one story. And I see you have some of those things in here: one story, one core idea, one emotion, and one like outcome or something or whatever. So I see you've got a lot of those stuff crossed in there as well. So it's kind of cool. You've packaged it all up in one thing.
Yeah. I have, just like you two, Jonathan and Sean, huge student of marketing. Probably the biggest, like, so people read Ideas That Influence and they're like, wow, like that was good. Like I absolutely loved it, which I absolutely thrilled by. Now, if you want to, anybody that's trying to get to that point specifically with a book, I am the type of guy that I've read like 500 marketing books.
Yeah.
And so sometimes people go to write a great book, but they've only read like 12 books within that genre. So they want to write a great mystery novel and they've read 12 mystery books. It ain't going to cut it. You need to like go a lot deeper. Like at least a couple hundred need to be read if you're going to also start to write a great mystery novel. I'm not saying it's impossible if you haven't, but it's going back to the catalyst approach for ideas. We need catalysts for our great ideas. So I'll go for walks. If I'm in idea mode, I'll go for walks and I'll be listening to the audiobooks or the podcasts, you know, Persuasion by the Pint, of course. And at some point you're going to say something, but in the back of my mind knows what my objective is. It knows what I'm focusing on. You'll say something and it will be a catalyst for my winning idea. But what I write down really didn't have anything to do with what you said.
Yep. It just helped create that connection, that neural connection between something you heard over here 3 years ago and then something we said, like, just all, and then it's like just a little zap and you're like, oh.
Exactly. And people say that happens. And unless you've intentionally tried to reproduce that, you don't realize how often it happens, but it happens all the time. I'll listen to a story from Jonathan and then it will remind me of an adjacent story that happened in my childhood. And then, well, wait a second. That is the perfect story to share as part of this marketing. And then I'm there. And then I'm writing as fast as I can before that whisper of an idea disappears. Because if you don't write it down, I promise you that whisper of an idea will disappear.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
will not remember it. If you're thinking of an idea at 11 p.m. at night, your head's on the pillow and you'll be like, oh yeah, I'll remember it. I'll write it in the morning. No, never. You never remember it in the morning. You will never remember it.
Yeah, got to capture it. Absolutely. Yeah. I remember, I don't know if you've read On Writing by Stephen King. Great book. It's actually the first book my first copy chief had me read. And he talks in there about if you're not reading a lot, you have no business writing.
Yeah.
And I think the same is true for marketing. If you're not reading about marketing, if you're not buying stuff and going through funnels, like you really don't have any business writing marketing materials.
To the point that I think he keeps like a paperback. If he goes to a baseball game or something, he's got a paperback in his pocket, just reading in between innings.
Yeah. He reads 5 to 6 hours a day. And then writes like 2 hours a day. So there's a clue right there.
There you go. Perfect clue. I 100% agree. Whenever I'm creating a new course or whatever, it doesn't matter. I am in full consumption mode.
Yeah.
And it makes things so much easier.
So let's
talk about implementing.
Time was flying, man.
Because we all get these great ideas, but I think the struggle is always moving ideas or what we think are great ideas. And maybe a lot of these ideas meet the criteria, but then moving these ideas forward into a plan of action and then ultimately, into fruition with a product or a course or, what have you. So,
or writing the next book. 100% agree. So we all.
By the way, I want to mention too, you're spot on with ideas because, and I say, like, go to the value of going to like, conferences or seminars or things like that is not necessarily what you're going to learn. But I've always found that like going to a lot of these conferences is not like people say, well, you're just spending more money and it's rehashed ideas and there's nothing new under the sun. Well, all of that's true, but you're discounting the intangible, which is like you go there and you're there amongst a lot of other people. And it really does, that, a group of people kind of that synergism that's going on. And that's where I get a lot of ideas is just in a kind of a group collaboration at big events and things like that. I also get them like you said, like, going for walks and things like that. But I've gotten ideas for books that I've done in the past just by being in an event and coming away with an idea and then putting that into implementation. So
yeah, there's something in that ether at events for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I capture all kinds of ideas that don't come from stage. There's like you just said, they say something that hits me and I'm like, oh, I could do this. Yes. It's good stuff. Yeah. So how do we implement? I know one of your little envelopes here is test and launch.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, so you know what I thought was going to be in this? Because you have like a little, you had some stuff in one, and I won't give away the surprises, but you know what I thought was going to be in this package?
I don't, because I only know what's in it.
I thought it was going to be like that little pack of Kleenex, that you might need.
Oh, that would have been good. Yeah. No, that would have been good. So when it comes to launching anything, so if you're going to write that speech and give that speech, if you're going to write that book and launch that book, if it's a new product launch, if it's a marketing campaign, whatever it is, the big thing that gets in our way, unfortunately, is the thought that we are not sure if when we launch it eventually, if it is going to work. That's like the big thing. Like, is it going to work? I don't know. And then eventually we might not ever even test to find out. Marketing is all about testing, test, and then you fail forward and then you discover wild stuff that's going to work. We agree with that as well. You got to do it, but it's easier said than done. Test, but people get in their own way. They're not sure if stuff's going to work. So we say test, starting from the point where you know what's going to work. You just don't know how well it's going to work. And so what we do is we say, hey, let's over prepare, which from a coaching aspect, as you know, Sean, is usually a bad idea. But in 2024, I'm telling you, 4,000 to 10,000 ads. If you want to be that one ad that grabs your dream customer by the shoulders and says, hey, this is what you've been finally looking for, then we need to over prepare a little bit at least. I'm not saying that we need to take a year. I'm just saying let's prepare for our wildly successful marketing campaign at least for a couple of weeks instead of just launching something tomorrow and seeing what happens. And so what we say is, once you've collected all the best ideas, making sure that it's not just you, because lots of times that best idea is going to come from somebody on your team, or it's going to be a combination of your idea with somebody on your team, or it's going to be your business partner's idea. Bring all the best ideas together. Make sure that you tick off as many of these elements as possible. If you've got one with all 7, everybody should be hooting and hollering, and it's going to give you the faith to continue forward so that you can get it out there and that you can have this amazing starting point where you fail forward from something that's already starting to work. That's what we're trying to get you to. Let's fail forward from a point of it's working to a degree.
And I love what you go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's the big thing. I actually don't even know what I was going to say next. So
okay, cool. So one of the things I like about your whole system here is you've got like these little kind of cheat sheets and guides so that people kind of know what to look for at each stage. So you're not just trying to like figure it out or guess. You got your 7 things, check those off on the little pad and make sure they're, you're getting at least 5 out of the 7. And in the testing, you're like, okay, well, you've got budget, you've got the different platforms you could be on, and like pick which ones your top 3, all those kind of things. So I think that's really helpful too, to kind of reduce some of the overwhelm and build that confidence as you're going, which is, I've not seen something like that that's with this many little, I mean, there's some courses and stuff, but I don't know. I like the physicality of this. Because then everything's just kind of laid out on the desk, not hidden in a membership portal somewhere, where it gets forgotten, gathering digital dust and all that stuff. So I like real dust.
Yeah.
On my stuff.
Dust is great. Yeah. What the trick, once you've got something that's going to work, you just don't know how well it's going to work. You have to realize, 1, it's all about getting in front of your dream customers. Okay. And 2, you don't care. You have to not care if where your dream customers are coming from. If your dream customers are reading the magazine about rifles, you better dang be in that magazine about the rifles. Like, that's where you're going to advertise. Okay. If that's where your dream customers are hanging out. If they're hanging out on TikTok, but I don't like TikTok. I don't care. If that's where they're hanging out. That's where you're going to test.
Yeah.
Because one of the mistakes we make is we have this amazing marketing message and then we test one platform and it either works a little bit or works great. But either way, working a little bit or working great, you're missing out on a lot if you don't test other placements for where your dream customers are hanging out. So that's the big mistake we see is people get stuck. Oh, I'm in the one place where everything is out. Guys, like, it all works together. I jump on podcasts. I'm doing the Facebook and Instagram ads. I'm following my own advice, and I'm finally going to start putting out more TikTok content. Because I don't want to do it either. But let's just be honest with ourselves. There are people. They're there. So we have to.
There are so many people there for sure.
Yeah.
TikTok shop just blows my mind. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but when you're on TikTok, if somebody's promoting a product or whatever, you can click on the little shop. It'll show you how many units that has been sold.
Wow.
And some of the numbers are just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I mean, just staggering. What's your favorite story, maybe from yourself or from a client, where it's like you launched on one platform, say Facebook or something, and it was like, we knew it'd work, but it's not quite. And then you try a different platform, which you weren't expecting, and you're like, it just blows up. Have you had anything like that happen, or from a client?
The most noteworthy is this happened more than once, and that's why it's so noteworthy. So we, over the past 12 years, we've attracted a lot of dentists and doctors, along with lawyers and, home service professionals, and, even people that, are coaches and have to do e-commerce. But for some reason, we attracted a lot of dentists and doctors, like more than average. And so what happened on more than one occasion is, like, we're helping them. We're like, all right, we got to break through the noise. And at some point, I am smart enough to ask about how their Google ads are doing. And then they tell me, we've never run Google ads.
Wow.
And then I say, well, we are going too much into the weeds. If you turn on Google ads, you'll probably double your business. And then multiple times they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, really? This is really important for your type of business, like really important. So they turn on the Google ads and then they double their business. And so that's a perfect example of, I don't know everything that they were doing, but for some reason they weren't doing like the obvious big one. Right. And so I have people that, like, 2 years later, like, they're just like, thank you so much once again for everything that you've done and everything. And I know in the back of my mind, like the one real thing that you did was just turn on the Google ads, and that's all you did.
Yeah, I think we all have the bias for our platforms that if we don't typically buy from there or like the platform, we just assume that all of our market doesn't either, which is just a pretty big bias to carry around. Very expensive bias at that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I work with a lot of people in the home service industry. If you're the type of person, if you're a marketer that thinks that yard signs are tacky, be very careful about what you're coaching to your home service professionals.
Yeah.
Sure. Have them do everything else, but do not tell them to stop doing the yard signs, because I tell you what, the numbers for yard signs are just absolutely mind-blowing sometimes.
Yeah, I believe it. Flyers as well. We had a pre 2008 crash. My dad and I had a construction business in Knoxville, and he had this Chrysler Town and Country minivan that he took to like the vinyl letter shop. This was like before wraps were really very good, and it was mostly just vinyl work. And he had the name of the company and phone number just huge on the side of his face. It looked so tacky. I was embarrassed every time I drove it. We got so much business off that van. Every time it would drive up to the job site, he would check on stuff. Like his phone would ring. Like, hey, what are y'all doing over there? We need some help. It was the best advertising we ever had.
That is so cool.
Yeah, you taught one that reminds me of in the book, because I was reading and it brought back, because I remember this back when JCPenney, because you use the example of JCPenney in the book where they brought the
flat
it
pricing.
was a CEO. They brought the guy from Apple over, and he totally, he didn't understand his audience and the way they shopped, because people know JCPenney for, they're looking for a discount. And this guy wanted to completely change their whole model and make them into an Apple.
Yeah.
And it's like, it failed miserably because he didn't really understand their core audience. He just thought, that's tacky. We're going to do things different. We're going to recreate this brand, but he almost killed the business. I mean, he almost killed the company in doing that.
Right. Yeah. It's probably one of the, out of all the fails in business, like there are so many lessons from what happened to JCPenney through that one campaign. Like the number is like over $1 billion in lost, the valuation of the business, like lost $1 billion in valuation or something because the stock price just plummeted.
Yep.
He lasted about a year, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe a little over that.
Was it Ron Johnson or something like that? I think his name.
Yeah.
I got it right here.
And they brought back after that, they brought back the old system of.
Oh man, they started doing sales hard as soon as he left the building.
Exactly.
Like, they were like, bring back the 88s and the 99s and the 77s, man. We need them.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. But when you're a business founded on catalog shopping, like,
of course.
Yeah,
that's like, right, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
JCPenney catalogs and coupons, running the coupons where they get to bring the coupon in.
It was Ron Johnson. Like so one of our 9 elements for the X Factor effect is join the age of experience. So he had partially part of the right formula. He wanted to make the experience for the shopper better by creating better layouts.
Yeah.
Which, yes, do
of
that.
Course. Yeah.
Do that. Make the experience better. Make it not so. If you've walked into an old rundown JCPenney or any other department store going out of business, sometimes you walk in and you get that dingy, like lights are going out feeling. And that's not what
right.
Or overcrowded. Yeah, the crowded, like Kohl's does that still to this day.
Yeah.
Like everything's packed in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
But some people love that. Like they feel like they're getting a deal when they have to dig through stuff. And that's kind of what they figured out with JCPenney is like there was an experience those people were having that they actually liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you look at that model, and then you compare it to something like let's use one of these more, I guess, nuanced clothing stores, like say Untuckit. You walk into an Untuckit, and they've got like, it seems like maybe 3 dress shirts of the same of the same brand or the same style. It's like that's it hanging. So it's very minimal. They just put enough out there. And they're like, hey, if you want to try something on, we'll just pull something out of the back if you don't see what your size is there. But
that's the luxury market, right? It's
right.
scarce. There's a lot of white space.
That's exactly.
It's a very different
and their markup
feel.
is huge. Yeah, it's like you're paying a premium for that.
You remind me of a lesson I learned about flea markets. I for the love of me, I cannot remember who taught me this, but sometimes at those flea markets, somebody gets a bright idea that they're going to organize everything and make it look all pretty. And then when they do, they usually see that the sales dip. And the trick to fix it so that the sales come back in some flea markets, not all, is to make everything look messy again.
Mm-hmm.
And then people come and then they're diving through and they're like hunting for a bargain.
Yep.
Now, when it comes to JCPenney, what we know for sure is that the customer was addicted to their coupons and they were addicted to their discounts.
Right.
And so a good question is, if we would have made it too fancy following Ron Johnson's advice, would that have brought more people in or deterred it? I'm not sure. But we do know this. When they got rid of the discounts, the customers absolutely hated it. They absolutely hated that their discounts and their couponing and that went away. That's what we know for sure statistically.
Right. Yeah, that would be like Kohl's getting rid of their like Kohl's Cash that people just love.
Oh yeah. Where's my Kohl's Cash?
Yep.
Their one tagline that they had for a while, like it's like getting paid to shop. I mean, the way they even set up their receipts and all their cashiers were trained to like, here's how much money you saved. It was like 3 times what you spent. It's like, man, I made money today. It's like awesome.
Made money from shopping.
Yeah. And they actually that was their tagline. It's like getting paid to shop. I mean, which is crazy that worked, but it did. So, we got to wrap up here. I think Jonathan's got to stop here. So what piece of advice would you leave people that, maybe they've been thinking about launching a campaign, or whether maybe they haven't launched one in a while and they're kind of in this stuck place. Like, what's your advice for them besides go to your website, which we'll cover that next. But
well, I have this entire experience you can go through for big, bold, and wildly successful marketing ideas. So the biggest advice would be that it's no longer 2007, which is when I got started with everything internet marketing related, and I put out some YouTube videos. Actually, my first one's back in 2007. 2007 compared to 2024 is wow, just everybody and their dog has a voice in 2024.
Yeah.
And so the level of noise. So I remember, so this 4,000 to 10,000 ad exposures or marketing pieces that we're exposed to every single day. I remember when the number was like 1 to 2,000. Yeah. So like people would say like a decade ago. Yeah. Like, whoa, really? Like that is crazy. And it was really noisy 10 years ago. Now it wasn't as noisy. And the reason why is because everybody and their dog, and so dogs have social media accounts in 2024. That's why we can actually say that everybody and their dog has a voice in 2024, and it's all part of the noise. And so realize that, but you can be that one thing that people remember today. And if that's the goal, then like monetarily, like, okay, yes, I am encouraging you to put a few more days and weeks of effort into launching your next campaign. I am openly asking you to do that. But reward-wise, we have seen when you get this right, it translates to millions of extra dollars in sales. And for some of the big companies, it has translated, and we have examples in the book, it has translated to billions because they got their marketing messaging correct.
Yeah, I mean, it took you a year, right? I mean, to revamp the packaging and everything. I mean,
yeah,
does it take everybody a year? I mean, come on, man. That
was more than a marketing campaign. That was me. I wrote the box and then I wrote the book and then I added this entire like thing from ground zero. And
yeah,
the main reason why, to be fair, the main reason why I took an extra year was because we sourced a lot of pieces from China that took a while to get to us.
Sure. Right.
So the main bottleneck actually was sourcing the pieces so they could be cheap enough for the box experience so that we didn't lose our shirts.
Yeah.
Because it is a free plus shipping box.
Right. That was going to be my next question is like, how did you make, I mean, cause I mean, it's done really well.
Well, I didn't go, in full disclosure, we didn't go through your funnel because you sent us the boxes for the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to share, like, what are your economics? Like, how do you,
Yeah, the economics of the business are pretty simple. It's free plus shipping. Our costs. So in the US, we charge $19.95 shipping, which is about actually how much it costs to ship it.
I was gonna say, yeah, because it's not just this box. This box came inside of a box that had the book and then the folder.
Yeah, it's
which you'll just have to wait and see what that is. We're not gonna have time to get on that show.
But it cost us about $45 per box to put together. But what we found is because we're giving so much away for free plus shipping, $19.95, people are being very generous with the OTOs. And so we are with the OTOs, and we have a couple cool offers that people take. We are at about break even, including our ad cost. So, and then the whole point of this, because you guys got the Batman folder, which the whole point of it is I was hoping to pretty much break even, giving away something amazing with my OTOs, and then invite people to the mentoring group. And so basically anybody that joins the mentoring group, it's like pure profit for us at the end of the day, because we're about at break even giving away boxes because of the OTOs. So economically, and this only works because it is very desirable what we've put out there. If our CPA to give away a box was $100, then the math wouldn't work. But since running Facebook ads, costs us about $30 to give away a box in ads, and because people are taking the OTOs, it's slightly profitable or break even for us to give away boxes, which is a marketer's dream come true.
Exactly. I don't think.
Oh, absolutely.
As many times as we've said that on the show, until you've done that, you just don't know. You don't really understand it. Assuming you have a back end, obviously.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work without the back end.
Right.
But the biggest companies in the world, they'll take, they'll take a 20% loss, 50% loss.
Yeah.
Insurance companies will go 2 years in the red, to get a customer, because they know they're probably going to keep them for 10, 15, so you really got to know your numbers. But I'm curious, since you're breaking even, how quickly do you get to that back end sale? Is it, do people have to kind of go through the whole experience? Is it like a 30-day lag, 60, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I'm adding stuff to the funnel. If you've heard of, I'm supposed to implement it. I was supposed to implement it this week, but I'm behind.
Your internet was out.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Well, there you go. My internet was down today. So what am I going to do? What am I going to do? No. My next phase of the plan, which will push us just super into the black, will be I'm going to send out Bonjuros. If you've ever used the Bonjuro app,
Yeah.
Whenever somebody buys a box, so that'll be the introduction, and then I'll remind them to watch the welcome video, which has a call to action for the mentoring group. And then my second Bonjuro, it's gonna kind of like be a Bonjuro sequence because I'm sick of people not opening emails. So, but people watch Bonjuros. I tell you, it works. It works. They're like, wow.
I'm surprised more people don't use that. It's I've seen it's actually pretty popular in the real estate niche for agents, but I haven't seen many internet marketers using it.
Yeah. I mean, internet marketers usually like to hide behind the computer, and it does take extra work to send out a video but the tool is so easy to use that it is fast. Like, yes, you're going to spend an extra 20, 30 minutes a day sending out videos, but the impact is,
it's high touch.
It's up there. Yeah. It's like, wow, wow. He sent me an individual video. So my sequence idea is, my second video in my Bonjuro sequence, I'm going to invite them to a challenge, but a one-on-one challenge where I'm actually so it's a more expensive challenge, but you get one-on-one with me for 5 days for 45 minutes each day. And I just learned about this technique. If you do individualized one-on-one challenges and charge more for them, then it's really easy to close your high ticket because of all that one-on-one FaceTime.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
So that's what I'm transitioning to for that.
And if that takes off, you just hire coaches to do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, where can people learn more about you? Like I didn't know.
There you go. Oh, there you go.
Hey, speak of the devil.
Ping pong balls.
What I love about
audio
this,
only listeners, it's bigideasbox.com.
Yep.
And big ideas with an S box.com.
And anyone can adopt this. I don't care what industry you're in, right? I mean, you said doctors, dentists. I'm sure you got real estate people. But even brick and mortar businesses, I mean, these are ideas that you could be implementing in your business to really set yourself apart from your competition.
Yep, that's it. That's what we're trying to help people do, break through the noise, because that is the big customer pain in 2024. Too many ads just get caught up in the sea of sameness. It's just more of the same and really bad results. And so I used to be a super affiliate. I'm not a super affiliate anymore. But before I started working with Pedro, so 2009, I hit it big as a super affiliate. Yeah. And it is really fun to buy lots of traffic profitably. It's just a blast. And then it's just like, give me more. Where can I buy more ads? Like it is really fun. And then you get to do these really fun things where if you're spending enough, you just start getting all this, you get all these, sometimes you get too many reward points and you don't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
And so, and then on top of that, you're just profitable in your business and you just want to buy more and more and more traffic. Well, that's still a reality in 2024. You don't have to go back to 2009 when I was a super affiliate in order to be able to do that. You can still do it in 2024. It's just a little bit harder. And it just takes a little bit more planning, but the elements in the book and the box experience are there in order to help you break through the noise with your next marketing campaigns.
Yeah, no doubt. Good stuff. Daniel, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for spending some time with us, and love to follow back up with you and connect with some of these other guys you mentioned.
Oh yeah, I'll connect you guys with Mark. With Mark, you guys can bring him on.
I've got some friends that I'm gonna share your stuff with. I've got a friend that friend of mine that he started a high-end dog training business. And I think this would be so cool for him. It's like,
that is cool.
He's really trying to kind of separate himself as not just another dog trainer. So, and he's trying to figure out what his angle's going to be. So we were having a conversation last week.
Love it. Especially if there's something high ticket at the end, like the maths. So
yeah.
Well,
I mean, one of your things on your site is somebody has a stitching course. So I mean, like, if you can do that, you can do anything, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
With the math. I mean, like, math is so fun. Like, so if you get 300 people to pay you $100 a month, that's $30,000.
That's right.
Like, wow.
Yeah, the numbers add up quick.
The numbers don't lie. That's
yeah.
Good stuff. Daniel, thanks so much. It's been a pleasure. Again, the book is in the whole course. You can find it down at the bottom of our screen, but great book, by the way. Ideas that influence the proven step-by-step process for promoting the perfect marketing message to your most profitable audiences. Boy, does that sound good. Love the title.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Sean. You two are absolutely amazing. Thank you for bringing me on Persuasion by the Pint.
Oh, man. You gave us enough kudos on the show. We might have to bring you back again. But
absolutely.
If I say it 2 more times.
We're going to put you in the green room for like 30 seconds. We're going to close out the show, and we'll talk to you on the back end.
Sounds great.
All right. Good stuff, man. Great guest.
Yeah, and there's so much we did not obviously get to cover.
Yes.
But go to bigideasbox.com, grab your box. We are not an affiliate. We should be, but we're not. Should have set that up earlier, but we didn't.
Yeah.
But no, it's a good product, and like it's just so interactive. If you've had trouble in the past, like getting through online courses, this might be what you're looking for.
Yeah. When he takes that shock and awe package or the experience to another level with this thing, because it's done really well. So
scratch offs, QR codes, like all kinds of cool stuff. So
Dan Kennedy would be very proud.
Yes, he would.
All right. Well, good show. Thanks for listening. Thanks for checking us out. You can find us on all of your platforms. You can find us over at persuasionbythepint.com. Check us out. Leave us 5 stars if you find us on Spotify or wherever. And we'll see you all next week. Sean, it's been fun. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you on the next one.
See ya.